What if the sentence you're about to say is the exact thing that quietly shuts off her desire for you? Stay with me, because in the next minutes, I'm going to show you the single secret you must never announce, why she rarely tells you this directly, and the precise way to replace that impulse with a presence that makes her feel drawn to you, calmly, steadily, and of her own free will. I'm not here to give you cute lines or fairy tales. I'm here to give you a psychological operating system you can use today, grounded in what we know from influence, attraction, and adult attachment. By the time you finish listening, you'll know exactly what to stop saying, what to start embodying, and how to create the kind of polarity that makes a woman lean in because she wants to, not because you begged her to. Here's the core truth most men never hear out loud. Never confess your need for her approval or her commitment as the fuel of your identity. That's the secret you must not tell. Not because honesty is wrong, but because telegraphing need as your strategy dissolves the tension that fuels desire and signals that you've abdicated your own center. When you say, in words or in subtext, "I need you to pick me so I can feel whole," you're making her responsible for your emotional homeostasis. You're not sharing, you're offloading. And most women will not tell you this bluntly. She may say she wants honesty and vulnerability, and she does, but she wants vulnerability that sits on a foundation, not vulnerability that begs to be rescued. She'll hide this from you under polite silence, sudden busyness, or the vague, "you're a great guy" message. What she felt was not safety or intrigue. What she felt was your need reaching out to grasp her, and her nervous system backed away. This is not a trick. This is psychology. Humans, not just women, track signals of self-sufficiency, self-command, and purpose. Influence researchers like Robert Cialdini have shown how commitment, consistency, and scarcity shape behavior. In romance, the pattern is simpler. We value what has value outside of us. A man with a mission, standards, and boundaries is valuable before any relationship. When he shares himself, it feels like a gift. A man who telegraphs "choose me or I collapse" is asking her to become his mission, his standard, and his boundary. That is too heavy to hold. Attraction is not nurturance. It's a dance between trust and tension, certainty and uncertainty, familiarity and novelty. The moment you make a woman your regulator, your approval dispenser, you collapse the dance into caregiving, and that drains sexual polarity. Notice I said, never confess your need for her approval as your fuel. That is different from never expressing affection, interest, or appreciation. Healthy attraction requires clarity. The difference is where the energy originates. "I enjoy your company. I want to see you Thursday, and here's the plan," comes from a centered choice. "Please pick me. I'll change anything you don't like. I can't stop thinking about you. Tell me you're not talking to anyone else," comes from a fear-centered plea. The first invites her into your world. The second tries to climb into hers to hide. She feels that distinction instantly, long before words are exchanged, because your behavior, your pacing, your eye contact, your cadence, your willingness to pause, all of it reveals whether you are self-led or approval-led. Why won't she tell you this directly? Because most people don't decode attraction at this level. She experiences it as a gut yes or a confused maybe. She won't say, "Your frame collapsed when you asked me 3 times whether I like you," even though that's exactly what happened. She won't say, "When you told me I'm your only hope and begged for reassurance, my nervous system tagged you as a burden," even though that's the signal her body just sent. She'll say, "I'm busy," or "I need time," and maybe she actually is busy, but behind it is a simpler truth. Your need asked her to become the leader of your emotional life, and leadership is not the role she wants in attraction. She'll hide that verdict to protect your feelings or because she doesn't have the language to name it. You need the language. You need a standard. You need practices that keep your center where it belongs, inside you, so your interest reads as a gift instead of a request for rescue. Let's make this practical. Attraction thrives on calibrated tension. Too much tension feels unsafe. Zero tension feels boring. Researchers like Arthur and Elaine Aron call one dimension of it self-expansion. We're drawn to relationships that expand our sense of self through novelty and challenge. Novelty requires edges. Edges require distance, not coldness, but distinctness. You are you, she is she, and you choose each other across that space. When you say, "You complete me," you erase the space. When you say, "I'm already complete, and I choose you," you respect the space. That tension is the spark. This is why over-explaining your feelings every hour, over-texting, interrogating her schedule, or play-by-playing your obsession is so counterproductive. You're flooding the space. You're trying to eliminate uncertainty, but uncertainty is one of the nutrients of desire. Your job is not to annihilate uncertainty. Your job is to hold it without losing composure. Now, understand vulnerability correctly. Healthy vulnerability is disclosure in service of intimacy, not disclosure as a strategy for control. Sharing your values, your plans, your boundaries, your fears in a measured way builds attachment and trust. Trauma dumping your history to get rapid closeness is manipulation dressed up as honesty. She will feel the difference. John Gottman's work on relationship stability shows that bids for connection succeed when they are invited and reciprocated. Shoving your unprocessed emotion across the table to force a response is not a bid, it's a demand. Mature vulnerability sounds like, "I value integrity, I'm building this project, I don't drink during the week because my training matters to me, I'm attracted to you, and I'm pacing this slowly." Immature vulnerability sounds like, "I can't stop thinking about you, I'm nothing without you, please don't see anyone else. I promise I'll be whoever you want." One creates warmth on a foundation. The other creates pressure with no footing. There's another reason you never declare need as strategy. The mind interprets what we label. Daniel Kahneman would call it priming. Once you plant "I'm desperate" in the frame, every subsequent behavior gets interpreted through that label. If you text to confirm a time, it reads as clingy. If you offer a compliment, it reads as begging. If you simply breathe wrong, it reads as fear. You sabotaged yourself with a frame that screams scarcity. When you withhold that confession, not your feelings, but the plea for validation, you protect the interpretive lens. Your invitation can be read as a man's choice, not a boy's plea. So, what do you say and how do you behave if you're not confessing that need? You lead with clarity, boundary, and pace. Clarity means you state what you want in clean language. "Let's do coffee Wednesday at 6, I know a place." Boundary means you honor your time, your rhythm, and your standards. "I can't text during training, call me at 9. Or, "If we're seeing each other, I expect honesty. I give it and I need it back." Pace means you don't escalate faster than the container can hold. You let desire do its work. You leave room for detachment so the connection can breathe. Paradoxically, this steadiness signals abundance more powerfully than any speech about your options ever could. Here's the paradox you must master. Romance requires a sense that you could walk away and still be okay, not as a threat, not as a game, but as a truth. That truth is the backbone of masculine presence. It tells her, "If you choose me, you're stepping into a life that's already in motion." That is magnetism. It aligns with what evolutionary psychologists like David Buss call mate value, signals of competence, resourcefulness, and reliability that exist prior to her. When you become the man who is moving, you don't need to convince, you invite. You don't need to defend, you demonstrate. You don't need to chase, you calibrate. You become the selector, not the petitioner. And women feel that difference without you saying a word about it. Now let's break down the mistakes men make when they violate this principle, and the upgrades that flip the dynamic. First mistake: seeking reassurance as a habit. Do you like me? Are you still interested? Are you talking to anyone else? The upgrade is self-validation paired with observation. Self-validation sounds like, "I'm solid whether this goes forward or not." Observation sounds like, "I track how she invests, time, attention, effort, not what she promises. If she invests, I match. If she doesn't, I let it fade." This keeps you in reality, not fantasy, and removes the compulsion to ask for status updates that drain polarity. Second mistake: oversharing to manufacture intimacy. Men are told to be vulnerable, and they translate that into telling their entire life story on date one. Not to connect, but to secure a guarantee. The upgrade is calibrated vulnerability, one real share at a time, paired with a question that opens her up if she wants to step closer. If she steps toward you, you offer another layer. If she doesn't, you hold your line. That's adult intimacy. It respects her agency and yours. Third mistake: over-complimenting in ways that worship and shrink you. "You're the most amazing woman I've ever met. I can't believe you're talking to me." That's not a compliment. That's a demotion of yourself. The upgrade is precise appreciation delivered from equal footing. "I like how you think," or "I enjoyed your take on that topic. It shows depth." You're not elevating her to a pedestal. You're noticing a specific quality. Specificity reads as presence. Pedestals read as fantasy. Fourth mistake: collapsing your schedule to be constantly available. Highly available is not the same as reliable. Reliability is, when I say 9, I mean 9. Constant availability reads as "I have nothing going on." The upgrade is structured availability. You make plans and keep them. You answer within a reasonable window. You let silence happen when you're working, training, or resting, and you don't apologize for having a real life. You communicate clearly. "I'll be off for a few hours, talk later." That's not distance, that's integrity. Fifth mistake: performing nice to win approval. Niceness is not kindness. Niceness is strategic compliance to get a reward. Kindness is principled strength. A kind man will open a door and also say no. A nice guy will open a door and then nod at everything to avoid tension. The upgrade is benevolent firmness. You can be warm, generous, and playful while keeping your standards intact. That is the combination that spikes desire: safety in your steadiness, intrigue in your edges. Sixth mistake: confessing love, exclusivity, or forever far too early to lock it down. Notice how this is the same error as earlier, just dressed differently. You're not sharing. You're trying to freeze her options to calm your anxiety. The upgrade is tempo. You let exclusivity emerge from consistent behavior and mutual clarity over time. You don't declare it to suppress uncertainty. You discuss it when your actions already reflect it. Words follow reality, not replace it. Seventh mistake: revealing the strategy. Telling her how much you're trying to make her fall in love, how the secret is that you want her more than anything. You think it's romantic, it's not. It removes all mystery and puts her in the role of gatekeeper to your happiness. The upgrade is simple. Never make your desire her job. Make your desire your expression. You display it through decisive invitations, grounded affection, playful tension, and the courage to walk away if your standards aren't met. You never outsource your center. Let's talk about attention and investment. One of the cleanest principles from behavioral psychology is that we value what we invest in. The consistency principle says we align our beliefs with our prior actions. If she invests her attention, time, and effort with you, her attraction tends to grow. If you overgive too early, you remove her chance to invest. The fix is not coldness, it's balanced exchange. Offer something real, ask for something real. Share a story, ask a meaningful question. Plan a date. Ask her to pick the dessert place. Invite, then create space for her to step forward. When she does, you respond. When she doesn't, you don't fill the gap with more giving to cover her absence. This equalizes investment and builds stable connection. Now, about mystery and novelty. Desire needs a rhythm of anticipation and fulfillment. Anticipation is not manipulation, it's pacing. You don't flood her with every detail of your schedule, your feelings, and your plans. You let the interaction reveal itself. Uncertainty lives in the gap between messages. You allow the gap. You allow your day to be your day. You show up fully when you're there. You're gone when you're gone. This is also where your life outside romance matters. If you have nothing to return to, you will obsess. If you have a mission, training, friendships, and creative work, you will naturally produce that rhythm without trying. That rhythm reads as attractive because it is real. Let's bring Stoicism into this. The core of Stoic practice is the dichotomy of control. What is in my control? What is outside it? Her emotions, her timing, her choices. Outside. Your words, your posture, your standards, your decisions. In. A Stoic man courts through action aligned with values, then releases the outcome. He doesn't collapse when faced with uncertainty. He breathes, observes, and acts again. This doesn't make you rigid, it makes you trustworthy. You can feel deeply and remain steady. That steadiness calms her body and lets her attraction breathe, because you're not asking her nervous system to stabilize yours. Now let's talk about your body and voice, because your nonverbal channel will betray you if you ignore it. Slow your speech by 10%. Pause to breathe at the end of sentences. Hold eye contact just long enough to feel it and then release. Keep your shoulders down and wide. Lead with your chest, not your chin. These signals read as present and unhurried. Rushing, fidgeting, filling silence. Those are signals that you want something from her. Presence is the opposite. You are here to share a moment, not harvest validation. When you combine that with clarity, direct invitations, simple compliments, clean boundaries, you create an experience that feels rare in a world of frantic grasping. You may ask, but isn't honesty the best policy? Yes, and honesty includes the discipline not to dump your unfiltered need onto someone who hasn't earned that role in your life. Honesty is not the same as full disclosure. Honesty is saying what is real without weaponizing it for certainty. I like you is honest. I need you to promise you're mine or I can't function is not honesty. It's an ultimatum wrapped in insecurity. You owe her truth. You don't owe her emotional caretaking duties you are avoiding for yourself. You handle your center. You share from your center. That's honesty with dignity. Let's refine your communication. Replace "what are we" with "here's what I'm available for and what I'm building. If we're aligned, let's explore. If not, no hard feelings." Replace "please text me back faster" with "I prefer clear communication. If that doesn't suit you, that's okay. We might not be a fit." Replace "I'll change anything you don't like" with "I welcome feedback, and I choose what aligns with my values." Replace "I can't live without you" with "Life is rich, and I'm choosing to share this richness with you if we're a match." These upgrades maintain attraction because they combine warmth with backbone. Women do not fall in love with a vacuum. They fall in love with a man who stands. Another point most men miss: timing your disclosures. There are seasons in attraction: spark, curiosity, trust, depth. If you pour depth into the spark phase, you drown the fire. If you try to stay in spark forever, you starve trust. Your job is to feel the season and act accordingly. Early on, prioritize playfulness, presence, and decisive plans. As curiosity grows, offer more substance, values, vision, non-negotiables. As trust forms, step into depth: family, faith, purpose, fears you've examined and integrated. At no point do you try to buy commitment with your pain. Pain shared as a bid for rescue kills desire. Pain shared as a window into your growth builds respect. Let's address jealousy and pressure. Announcing how jealous you are to prove passion is another form of confessing need. It says, "You regulate me by limiting your world." That's a false path. If her behavior violates your standards, dishonesty, disrespect, you leave. If it doesn't and you still feel anxious, you manage your anxiety. You don't make her your therapist or your jailer. The moment you outsource your emotional regulation to her choices, you've undone attraction. Boundaries solve what jealousy never will. Either it's a fit and you proceed, or it's not and you move on. That decisiveness is attractive not because it's cold, but because it is clear. Now, about compliments and sexuality. Keep compliments sparse, specific, and reality-based. Over-complimenting is the verbal version of flooding the space. Sexual escalation must be consensual, calibrated, and unhurried. Enthusiasm matters more than speed. If you push for closeness to secure her, you're back in confession mode. "I need this from you to feel okay." That is not intimacy. That is anesthesia. The correct frame is shared desire. You attune, you invite, you listen, you lead gently, and you never trade pressure for connection. Doing so maintains the exact tension that keeps desire alive long after the first spark. Let's tackle texting. The compulsion to text constantly is usually your avoidance of your own life. Set texting windows that fit your schedule. Keep messages purposeful, confirm plans, share a genuine thought, flirt lightly, and get out. If you treat messaging as a pipeline of reassurance, you will train her to experience you as background noise. Silence is not the enemy. Aimlessness is. When your day has spine, work, training, learning, rest, your messaging naturally finds a rhythm that reads as, "I have a life." That subtext is one of the strongest attraction signals you can send without saying anything explicit about it. You might be thinking, what if I already confessed from need? Then you reset. You stop trying to talk your way back into polarity. You change behavior. You slow your pace. You stop chasing. You live your life and invite again when centered. If she's gone, she's gone. That acceptance is your repair. If she's still there, she'll feel the difference without a speech. You don't need to announce your new philosophy. You embody it. People trust patterns, not proclamations. Now let's anchor this in your identity, because tactics without identity are fragile. You are a man with a mission that predates every romance and will outlast any single relationship. Your health, your craft, your faith, your brotherhood, your contributions, these are pillars. When you stand among your pillars, you're generous because you're full, not because you're empty and trying to be filled. From there, your interest in a woman is clean. It doesn't demand. It doesn't perform. It chooses. It reveals slowly. It establishes pace. It honors no. It offers yes. It lets reality do the selection. Within that identity, here's the language you do use. You say what you want. You state your standards. You offer invitations. You express appreciation. You set boundaries. You allow consequences. You stop trying to control what you can't. You don't brag about options. You live in a way that produces them. You don't ask for guarantees. You build a life that needs none. You don't confess your emptiness. You cultivate your fullness and share it. There is one more layer to the secret you must never tell. It's not just don't say you need her. It's don't reveal the responsibility for your self-respect. Never tell a woman it's her job to maintain your dignity, worth, or direction. That responsibility is yours. When a woman senses that her presence replaces your self-respect, she leaves. If not physically, then emotionally. She hides the real reason under polite phrases because most of us don't enjoy saying, "You placed your identity in my hands, and I don't want to carry it." Your armor against that pattern is quiet self-respect expressed through action. You keep your word. You care for your body. You invest in your craft. You show up on time. You apologize when you're wrong without groveling. You say no cleanly. You protect your mornings. You guard your focus. You let your yes mean yes. That is how a man keeps himself. And that is the most attractive thing you can bring to a woman, a man she doesn't have to manage. So, if you're tempted to send that long message begging for assurance, delete it. If you want to declare undying love on week 2 to remove your fear, wait. If you catch yourself about to say, "I need you more than you can imagine," breathe and remember. The version of you that believes that is not the version she will desire. Instead, send a clean invitation. I want to see you. Thursday 6. If she declines without countering, move on. If she counters with interest, engage. If she shows up with energy, meet it. If she pulls away, give space. This is not a script, it's a posture. It says, "I'm good, and I'm open." That combination is rare. It makes a woman feel free inside your presence, and freedom is the soil in which love takes root. Everything I've told you aligns with the best of persuasion science and relationship research without reducing romance to a formula. Cialdini's principles explain why your over-availability backfires. Attachment theory explains why trying to fuse too soon triggers avoidance. Self-expansion research explains why novelty and pacing matter. Gottman's observations explain why bids must be invited, not demanded. Stoicism explains why your control must return to your choices. These are not pickup tricks. They are principles of adult courtship. They make you stronger whether you're single, dating, or many years into a relationship. So here is your new rule, clean and simple. Never tell a woman that your identity, your peace, or your worth depends on her choosing you. Never hint at it. Never perform it. Replace that confession with presence. Replace that plea with a plan. Replace that flood with pace. Replace that pedestal with partnership. Replace that anxiety with action. Replace that fantasy with observation. And watch what changes. Watch how your conversations sharpen. Watch how your invitations land. Watch how some women vanish. Good. And how the right women lean in because they feel something rare. A man who is both warm and unneedy, open and self-led, affectionate, and unafraid to walk away. That is the energy that makes a woman choose you. Not because you asked, but because your life makes the choice obvious. If you do only one thing after this, do this. Build a day you respect. Train your body with intensity. Focus on work that matters. Sharpen one skill that compounds value. Honor sleep. Set 2 non-negotiables and enforce them. Then, from that day, invite a woman into a specific moment with you. No essays, no pleading, no confessions of need. Just a direct line into the world you've built. Let her see you there, rooted, calm, a little playful, fully alive. That's the man she remembers when her phone lights up at night. That's the man she wants to see again. That's the man she falls for. Not because he told her to, but because he never made her carry the weight he was always meant to carry himself.